It is I, Doom Cloud, aka Jeff Haygood. Anyways, so it's 2021 and I've barely been posting anything. I haven't been doing photography, I haven't been doing videos and some Tim&Ed stuff, but only once a month. So the reason for that is the original reason was COVID. So when COVID hit, I stopped doing everything. And now, what I've currently been doing is working on the actual animation. I started earlier this year, and this is the official animation that I'm working on. So here we have the current scene that I'm working on. This is the 12th shot of scene 1. I'm just going to go through how I composite slash animate and using Photoshop and After Effects. So everything in this scene, every asset, which is what I refer to, Ed is an asset, Tim is an asset in the background. All of that is created in Photoshop. They're all created in Photoshop and separated into different layers. So in this particular composited shot, I've composited together Ed, Tim, and the background. And within each, they have their own different compositions. So first thing I'm going to show off for this is the camera. So I'm going to go to this keyframe right here. This type of animation is called 2.5D animation. So what that means is 2D objects in a three-dimensional space. So I'm going to take this active camera, go to custom view 1. And this is how they're spaced out. So you have, right now I have a 3D camera, which is using a 50 millimeter angle. This is the actual camera right here, 50 millimeters. That's how far away it is from the subject. So Ed here is the foreground. I call Tim the midground and then the background. So this is what the final output is going to look like. But right here, I'm manipulating the camera. So if I zoom in, you'll see I can move up. I can do some pretty realistic camera movements. So this 2.5D animation basically mimics a real camera. It mimics the look of moving through a three-dimensional space. So if I take this slider right here, you'll see it feels three-dimensional, doesn't it? Like the objects closer to the camera are moving closer to the camera faster than the objects that are further away, and you're getting this kind of parallax effect, which is really, really cool. And to add on to that even further, I have an adjustment layer specifically just above the background layer. So I'm gonna turn it off. This is what the background layer looks like straight out of Photoshop, and then in After Effects I can manipulate the camera and lens blur. So you can see I'm gonna take out Ed. That's the whole composition. And also I separated his drop shadow. And then I'm gonna take out Tim. That's kind of creepy looking, but this is Tim's drop shadow. And so yeah, this is the background. Take out the camera blur. And there's some color grading. I'm gonna turn it off really quick. And then I'm going to turn off the highlights and turn off the shadows. So this is basically what that background painting looked like straight out of Photoshop. So I do create some shadows and highlights and things like that, but I do it knowing that I'm going to be tweaking it more when I bring it into After Effects. So I add in some more shadows, and then I add in some highlights. And I do that based off of the position of where Ed and his flashlight are going to be. So I'm going to turn that back on. So his flashlight is going in that direction. And then the same with Tim, drop shadow. The highlights and shadows on his face are based off of the position of the flashlight in his hand. So that's why I do all of that in After Effects, because I can manipulate it and animate it within After Effects. So I can change the intensity, the location, and all of that of the shadows and highlights. And you see Ed's to the right of his face, and everything is to the left of Tim's face. So this is a basic breakdown of, oh, and also this is the additional color grading that I add on top of that. So this is closer to the final look. This is the final look where I add in some grain on top of everything. So I'm going to turn it off, turn it back on. One reason I add the grain is just to add a little bit of nostalgia, because this this cartoon is going to take place in 1994. And so from there, let's go to the individual characters. So this is what the full character rig of Ed looks like. And you can see in the actual shot, this is all you can see of him in his torso, but he actually has a fully functioning arm. So you see, this is some tween animation. So this isn't frame by frame animation. This is me creating keyframes of each pose, and then the software kind of fills in the information between each keyframe. So within this composition is another composition, which is Ed's head. Ed's head by itself is 43 layers. It doesn't look like it should be that much, but just about everything on him is a separate layer, and then there's different controllers and then highlights and shadows and such, and it just all comes together to looking like something that's very super complicated. But yeah, this is Ed's. Let me just go through kind of how it works so I can manipulate different parts. So this is a curl that I can move whenever he moves his head a certain way, which his hair is separated into several different layers. That actually looks pretty funny. And let's look at this eyebrow. So underneath that eyebrow, I'm revealing his eye socket. And so this is a little complex. So I use masks to mask out the eye socket layer, because if not, when I pull down his eyebrow, you would see the top of his eye socket. So there's actually a mask in front of this eye socket layer, and if you don't know what I mean by eye socket, this is the eye socket. Completely changes how the character looks. They all look like they need a lot of sleep. There's a lot of mask layers. There's mask layers for the eyelids. So right now you cannot see the upper eyelid, but now I'll bring it down. Completely changes the emotion on his face. Then I can manipulate the pupils as such. And currently I do not have the lips, the mouths animated. So I do the lip sync animation separately using Photoshop and Premiere Pro, and then I composite it and onto the face in After Effects. That will be the next step, which I'll probably do a separate video over. So for now, I have a little placeholder for the mouth. But what I do what I do in do animate in After Effects is the jaw. So I'm using this plugin called Freeform Pro, which I can manipulate the jaw how I would like. So let's go on over to Tim. So when I create these templates for the character, I don't create what is unnecessary. So both of these shots are just their torsos, so I don't need their full body. And Tim in particular, his arms will not be shown or moved in any of the current shots that I'm working on. So he does not have arms. So if I take away this blanket, he doesn't have arms. You know, he's Timothy no arms right now. And what's interesting about this blanket is above his torso. Oops, that's a shadow, which is a separate layer. It's above his torso. But hold up. How is it above his torso and over and behind his neck? How do I animate that? Well, I'm using a mask layer. So I actually put a mask around his neck, which is masking out part of the blanket, giving the illusion that it's both wrapped around his neck and on top of his torso. So if I move this out the way, that's how the actual layer looks or is built before adding that mask. So Tim also has his own head layer. So this is, I don't know how long this recording has been, but this is just kind of a basic breakdown. I haven't been creating a lot of content, and for the few fans I have out there that um, have been keeping up with this project for the years I've been working on it, and that are actually excited to see what the end product is, I just want to give like show a little bit of what it looks like working on this animation, and kind of showing how complicated it is and everything. And doing this all by myself is definitely gonna take a while, but like I'm in love with what I'm creating. I'm gonna end this, but basically I just want to say that I'm thankful for the people who have been cheering me on as I work on this. When people tell me they're excited to see it, it makes me super excited to see it. I'm going to try to do more content. I think from here on out, for like the rest of the year, majority of my content is going to be Tim&Ed, because this is my passion project. I'm not done doing photography. I'm not done doing videos, because after I finish Tim&Ed, I'm definitely going to be creating a short film, like actual physical film with real people, but that's further down the road. My next video, I will actually, because I did some vlogs like 6 or 7 years ago, which is crazy. I started doing vlogs on this and I stopped. But I will be doing a vlog just kind of recapping, officially talking about what Tim&Ed is, what the story is, what the characters are like, the characters involved, and things like that. Reintroducing the project as it is now. And just look, hopefully y'all will be looking forward to seeing that. And yeah, thank you if you actually made it all the way through this video. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, let me know if you're excited. And also, let me know if there's anybody who uses After Effects and is interested in animation. If there's anything in particular you would like me to talk about and make a video about, just let me know in the comments. And subscribe to your boy.